Hello and welcome to Walpole United WFC.
Good afternoon and welcome to Walpole United WFC, Anthony Odds on show with me, Anthony, and I'm joined with the ever-present John. How are you this afternoon?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you, mate. Yeah, not too bad. Been a bit of an up and down week really. That draw last week, it felt like a loss. Fan base is a little bit unsure at the moment about maybe the direction of the way that we're going to go. So yeah, it's just been a bit of an unusual week. I think we felt down, but maybe unnecessarily a little bit. How are you feeling at the moment? You okay?
Yeah, I'm all right. As you've already pointed out about the last weekend's result, it sort of felt like a bit of a defeat. We will discuss that and how we should be going forward and where we think it's not going right at the moment later in the show. But other than that, I'm all right. Unfortunately, with Christmas coming up, I'm going to have to sacrifice coming up for the next couple of games. But I don't want to be getting into money trouble, so that's another one we can have off topic. But we'll start with last weekend's results. How me and you did in our prediction game, and then we will do the usual. We will discuss this weekend's fixtures with some big games. As you may or may not know, it's women's football weekend. So some big games to talk about. The North London derby, the Midlands derby. And then you also have Man City v Chelsea, who only recently just played in the FA Cup. But we'll start with the results from the weekend just gone. You had Villa against Chelsea, which Chelsea were 1-0 winners. You had Everton-Brighton, which Brighton also ran out 1-0 winners. They were both the Saturday games. So we go to Sunday. We had Tottenham against Man United 1-1, which obviously we were disappointed about. Birmingham v Reading was 3-0 to Reading at Birmingham. You had Leicester against Man City, which Man City ended up winning 4-1 in the end after going 1-0 down in the first minute. And then you had Arsenal beating West Ham convincingly 4-0. Now, as prediction-wise went, we got one correct result with the Arsenal game being 4-0. So we got 5 points for that. We also got 2 points each for the Man City and the Chelsea game, where we predicted the right winners. But John also predicted correctly the winners of the Birmingham Reading game, which he went for 2-1, I went for 1-1. So he got the extra 2 points there, which means John won this weekend's round with 11 points to my 9, which after 6 games still gives me a 12-point gap on 55. But John has closed it ever so slightly with 43.
I needed that win. I needed that one because I think I won the first week, and then ever since, I think you've won every week since then. So
yes,
I needed that one.
Yes, definitely, and you'll be hoping for some more, which it can be quite hard once you get further afield because, like you said, the results can become a bit more predictable, or you just think. But before we do move on to this weekend's fixtures, I'm going to ask you, did any of the results stick out to you? Was there any surprises? Was Chelsea only winning the one shot?
Yes, Chelsea is obviously the one because they've been so dominant. I know not as dominant as Arsenal, but they're still up there, aren't they? They're still doing very, very well, and they're hitting form now. So yeah, you'd have thought a few more goals there. I think the game that me and you had our difference where you predicted a draw, I predicted a 2-1 win. I thought that stuck out because I kind of felt that I knew it was going to be a tight game, and I thought one team might just edge it. So that one stuck out. And then I just have to talk about United a little bit, and I knew it was going to be a very, very tight. I think I predicted a tight 2-1 win, and that's yeah, we did, yeah. And that shot at the end could have made it a tight 2-1 win. I knew it was going to be very tight. I just thought we'd have just a little bit more than them, and I think we did really. It should have been maybe more than 1-0, but yeah, very disappointed towards the end. We was all in the pub afterwards. We're having a bite to eat.
Yeah,
I think it's the quietest we've ever been, wasn't it, Anthony?
Well, yeah, I was even debating whether to go, and I did. I thought, oh yeah, I've not eaten, so I'll have some food. But I was seriously debating. It's just when you equalise so close in the manner of it as well, where it could have been dealt by a couple of players with their heads. But we can't dwell on it, and we have to think about moving forward with Everton this week. So I agree with you with Reading. I was a bit shocked that they won so convincingly. Obviously, Man City, they always seem to get the goals against Leicester. Leicester and Everton, they seem to put it on for, but we do know City have struggled in recent games. And like you said, like I've said before, Brighton winning at Everton, I've said it time and time again, they're a funny side, Brighton. And and it reflects in our predictions. I thought with the new manager and that and being at home, Everton were going to win tightly. You went for the draw. But this is what I'm saying. You don't know what you're going to get with Brighton. They're like your bet buster, in my opinion. You're putting a risk if you put them on to win, because you just don't know how it's going to go with them. But all in all, most of the results went to form, I would say.
If you're kind of talking about Brighton, I know you live down there, so the Brighton probably sticks out to you more than most. But at the start of the season, there was you and Simon Preston, sports journalist from Jamaica, who said kind of look out for Brighton, and I just didn't think too much of them. You look at them now, 6 or 7 games in, they're holding their own, aren't they? They're doing very well.
Yeah, they definitely they're above us, so
exactly.
It shows you how well they're doing.
Yeah,
but
if they start getting more injuries, suspensions, fatigue, well, we start seeing them slip down. But as things stand,
it's the same. Well. It's the same for everyone, though, isn't it? But
yeah.
We'll see. But I think that's all about last week's. We'll move on to this week's fixtures. As I was saying earlier, it's International Women's Football's weekend. And they like to put some big games on. And if you're an Arsenal and Tottenham fan, there's no bigger game than a North London derby, which starts the weekend on Saturday, 1:30 kickoff. First v third. With head-to-heads, Arsenal in the last 4 years have won all 6 games. And the experts have Arsenal winning this quite convincingly. They're 1-10. You can get a draw at 6-1. And Tottenham at 16-1. Now, do Tottenham being at 16-1 surprise you a little bit, considering where they are in the table?
I don't think the Arsenal win odds and the draw odds surprise me, but I think 16-1 is a little bit risky from the experts. Look, Tottenham have only scored about 8 goals all season. They haven't been free flowing. what I saw of them against United, they was very strong in the centre of the park. They just looked very strong physically. They looked very well organised. They made themselves very difficult to break down. However, on the flip side, Arsenal are a lot more free flowing than us, and I do think Arsenal will kind of, I'm not going to say rip them apart, but they're better equipped than we are to find those gaps. So I definitely see Arsenal as favourites more than a draw. I don't think Tottenham will sneak a draw. We'll go through a scoreline shortly. But yeah, for me, I think Arsenal are well-deserved favourites. I think this is probably one game where Tottenham will come a little bit unstuck. But that's okay to come unstuck against Arsenal. You know, it's probably the end of the world to them being a derby. But and I think I don't think history comes into it this season, because Arsenal are a lot more stronger this season than they have been in recent seasons. So are Tottenham. So I think it kind of levels out to me in that sense. Yeah, so I do fancy an Arsenal win. And that's no discredit to Tottenham. I saw how well they played. They surprised me how well they played. I don't know if it's us that played poorly last week, potentially, or if Tottenham was just very well organised. But I think Arsenal will have what it takes to beat Tottenham this week.
Yeah, no, I agree with what you've said. Arsenal do normally get the best out of Tottenham, whether it is the men's or the women's, when it comes to a derby. Even when the likes like Arsenal men were struggling, but that's one game they always seem to turn up for. They could be like 15th or wherever they started, but they always turn up against Arsenal, against Spurs, and get the win. And that win has pushed them on. They've gone forward, whereas certain teams like our men's side, unfortunately, have gone back. But back to the women's side of it, I agree. Arsenal, they've just got so many people that they can have. Like, they didn't even have Tobin Heath last week. Miedemeier started on the bench. When you've got that quality that you don't even need to have in the squad or start a game, and you still beat West Ham 4-0, it just it's unbelievable, isn't it? It just shows you how strong they are. And I think even with their goalkeeper, like, they could rest their keeper, and I think they wouldn't struggle. I think they would still be all right. Not like, I know City's got their third choice keeper, so it's slightly different. But with Arsenal, they're strong at the back as well. So, and like you said, they're more free flowing, and I just think they'll find them against Spurs. They'll be quicker, whereas we'll discuss it later on, how I feel how it was, but it wasn't great. But going on to predictions, how do you see this one?
I think because it's a derby, I think even if Tottenham go 1 or 2 down, that the heads will stay up. I think they might realistically think that they've got a chance of top 3 this season. I don't know if they'll say that publicly, but you know where they are at the moment. Good luck to them. Obviously, not too much luck, but yeah, good luck to them, because you know, they deserve to be where they are. So I think if they go 1 or 2 down, they'll still try and make it tight. So I don't think it'll be a 4, 5, and 6 kind of scoreline this week. So I'm going to go for a 3-0. Oh God, Anthony's smiling already. I think it might be getting predictions here. But yeah, I can see Arsenal scoring, because they score so many throughout the season. I think they've scored over 20 so far in the WSL. But Tottenham also haven't conceded that many. So to me, a 3-0 scoreline is a fair amount.
Yeah, no, as you can tell, I've gone for 3-0 as well. I just don't think Tottenham will score against them. They don't, like you said, they've not scored many. Arsenal are free flowing, but like you said, I agree. I don't think it's going to be 4, 5, 6 this week. And that's why we've both gone for the same scoreline.
Yeah, and even the game that we saw on the weekend, Tottenham against United, Tottenham didn't really look too threatening going forward there.
No, exactly.
Let's had 1 or 2 chances maybe, but it took it to the final minutes and it was just a cross into the box with the extra player in the box because the goalkeeper came up. And so even then, as much as I praised them at the start of the show, I still don't think that they showed too much going forward.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I don't know if it still stands, but Alex Morgan only played 195 minutes of football last season. Since the beginning of last season, their top scorer at home has the same amount of goals as Alex Morgan does for Spurs. So it shows you that there isn't many goals in the team.
Yeah.
Just by that. But that's the North London derby discussed. We will move on to Sunday's fixtures. And there's a lunchtime kickoff at a park. Of course, it's Everton v Man United. As long as hopefully we're not going to have any storms. Otherwise, look out, that one could be postponed. It's 10th v 5th. We could be disappointed being in 5th, even though it's still early doors, quarter of the way through the season. But as head-to-heads go, we've played 7 times. United have won 6. Everton have won the 1 in the Conti. Odds, you can get Everton 15-4, the draw 12-5, and if you fancy United, 13-20. Now, obviously, Everton, they've still got a relatively new manager. They got the win in the Conti Cup against Leicester, but then against Brighton, his first league game, they came away with a loss. And it is one of these games where I'd normally go in confident because, like Spurs, we haven't lost to them in the league. I'll make that clear, in the league. So you always go there confident that we're going to get a result. Now, how the season's gone so far, I'm a bit more on the edge. Like it could. I don't see Man United losing, but I could see them dropping points again. But we will give our predictions at the end. But how do you feel? Are you sort of feeling the same way as me?
I think when I look at the league table, I'm not too concerned because we're only one win away from Champions League. So the games that we've lost, Chelsea, you kind of expect it. The draws against City, I think, was a decent result. Obviously, if you go into the nitty-gritty about the detail of the actual game, that's a bit more debatable. But on paper, you lose to Chelsea, you draw to City, you draw to Tottenham, and then you win the other 3. That's not too bad. What concerns me is when I'm watching United play at the moment, and I discussed this on yesterday's show with Natalie, when I'm seeing United play at the moment, I just don't see that many goals. I just don't see us look as scary as we do.
I agree, and that leads me on to a question which you've sort of answered. Is sort of, do you think Skinner is getting the best out of his players? I know on last night's show you discussed about Leah and Hansen. Mm-hmm. For example, even on a Bagier, are they performing to their best of their abilities? Is Mark getting the best out of them? Because for me personally, we're not. I think with the personnel we've got, our main threat is out wide. You saw it when they equalised. We went wide and we nearly got the winner in the dying seconds. But there hasn't been enough of that, and especially on Sunday for me. Mm-hmm. And like I said to you through the group and WhatsApp and that, I don't think we really created many chances. On another day, we lost to Tottenham. If it wasn't for Russo being so brilliant with her feet and so powerful and such a strong shot, I couldn't have seen us scoring. What's your thoughts?
Look, it's such a hot topic at the moment in the fan base. One thing that I'm not too impressed with is the way that we're playing. I think we're keeping the ball well, and I think that this must be in Skinner's mind. If we've got the ball, then stand more chance of scoring and less chance of the opponent scoring. But it seems to be in the wrong areas. It's just mainly just in the middle of the centre of the park. It's a lot more intricate, and as you say, our best players out wide aren't looking like they were last season. And that's because of the style of play. We're not looking for the long balls as often. We're not looking for Galton and Hansen to hug the touchline. And this is just a different style of play. So if you're asking, are we getting the best out of the players, then I think probably they're at their potential when it comes to the style of play that we're playing, because I don't think they can do any better at the moment because they're still learning. That it's almost as if they're playing a way that they've never played before, and they're either struggling or they're just not that good at it. And then that brings in loads more questions. For example, transfer windows where we see players come in that can suit Skinner's style of play more than what we saw last season and the season before that and the season before that, which again, is that the right way? Is that the wrong way? We'll have to wait and see. To get the best out of the players that we've got, we need to get a bit more space on the ball. So, which means that you need to spread the ball out, which means you do need to go wide. I did enjoy seeing Hayley Ladd play at Tottenham. I think she did really well collecting the ball off the centre backs. I know me and Connor had a bit of a disagreement in he was expected to see more of it. I agree with that. I do think we could have seen more of it, but at least we saw it more than in previous games. So I think that helped. But even when Hayley had the ball or she passed it to Katie, there was still nothing from there. Tooney probably had one of her worst games in a United shirt this season. No offence to her, but it's just something's not quite right in that midfield three. And then if the midfield threes are getting the ball, then how can the wingers, further forward? And that's another phrase. Are they actually wingers? They're a lot more narrower now. It seems very narrow at United, and that's probably just the way that we're playing. I think it's still a little bit too early at the moment to go to the extremes of saying we should change tactics, this, that, and the other. But I would like to see us be a little bit more, show a bit more of a variety. And as you say, when we did go wide, we caught them off guard and we almost scored that late winner. I think we're getting the best out of Russo, but I think she's being forced to. I think she's almost like a one-player band at the moment, so to speak.
It's a bit like Ronaldo, in it, for the men.
Yeah. Hannah getting forward. They're just expected to go the whole width of the pitch to get that width in there. I think I'm really intrigued to see how it goes when Skinner feels that we're at our best, because he's obviously trying something that we've never seen before. We are tight in the midfield. I don't think when I see us, I don't look like that we're going to score that many, but I also don't think that we're going to concede too many either. So I think that's credit. It looks like that we've learned from our mistakes against Chelsea. So I do think there needs to be a few props given to Skinner regarding how tight we are in midfield and how we're protecting the centre backs in that sense. But at United, even 1-0 wins aren't good enough. You need to compete, don't you? So I think it'll be interesting to see after Christmas. Will there be any transfers coming in January? And then I think we'll have a bit more of a idea in how we're going to be going forward.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Like we were saying about it, he's obviously got his own way, and that players are still learning. But I feel like sometimes, especially on Sunday, I feel even if he did for the last half an hour, did have them pushed out wide, because we were saying, I lost count how many times we were saying to Kirsty, run down the wing. And it never seemed to happen. Look, I know at the start of the season, Kirsty was a bit more central in that, and she had a brilliant start to the season in that. But it is hard. It's like learning anything. You have to get used to it. But I feel taking on their players is when they are best. Like, and this is another thing before we move on to the next game. Why do you think Skinner doesn't like using his subs? And I will say my main thing is Leah, for example, she looked knackered on Sunday in the second half, but she played 90 minutes. Now, do you feel that Skinner feels that there was no one to come on that could win the game better than a tired Leah? Or
I think he's got a knock-on effect with the starting 11. I just think he's got a very set way of playing, and he's choosing the players who suits his system the best. And obviously, this opens up a can of worms here. But it's true. He's obviously playing the players who he trusts the most at the moment. And sometimes when it's so tight, a substitution can go for you, but it can also go against you. Staniforth has played, I think, quite decent throughout the whole season, but we haven't seen as much of her in that game. I think it was right to sub Tooney off because she wasn't as impactful. I think sometimes you just got to I can understand the manager's point of view because sometimes a change could make things worse. At that point, 1-0 up, he probably thought, let's just hang on, maybe. He didn't want to rock the boat. It's tough. I think he makes more subs than Casey, but I don't think he has full.
Not many more, I don't think.
No, maybe not many more. But especially at the start of the season, I know a few times. We could have probably done it with a few more subs. But I just don't think he trusts the players as much as he doesn't know the players as much. He doesn't know how they're going to react. Don't forget, people refer to this season, and they look back at Casey's first season in the WSL. Casey's first season in the WSL, she knew the players for 16 months by that point.
Yeah, exactly.
Skinner's only been there for like 7 or 8 games. Well, probably a bit longer with pre-season.
Yeah.
So he's still getting to know the players as well, how they're going to react to certain situations. It's not just about the quality on the ball and off the ball, it's mentality as well. And he's still getting to know these things. And obviously he's got the coaching staff around him, which can work for him and work against him as well. But I think there's just a lot to look into when it comes to making subs, especially when you're 1-0 up. He probably just thought, okay, well, let's just hang on. And let's be honest, we was 1 minute away from hanging on.
So how would you set up tactically?
I think this week it's time for Borisa. I think if she's not going to play when Jackie's not even around, then
there's a lot of us calling for that.
Yeah. Whether or not she should play in place of Lad. So Lad had a chance last week, done well.
Yeah, I agree.
And just swap them around. I think that's a possibility. Or is this the game where we might see like what we saw at Durham? If Jackie isn't playing, then maybe another good combination is Borisa and Lad. I've got no problem seeing that this time. And then that means that Katie Zelem, if she's one of Mark's favourites, she'll be fully rested then for the derby in midweek. So I wouldn't have a problem then against weaker opposition because Everton are weaker than Tottenham and Man City at the moment. Yeah, I can see Lad and Borisa potentially starting this game. Let's see how they get on.
Yeah, no, I would like that, but he does seem to have his favourites, so I can't. I feel like after Sunday there should be a change or two. I'm not sure if there will be, but I feel like Zelem could benefit from a bit of a break because she has played like pretty much all the football.
I'm going to go back on what I said a little bit here because I know that I've said at the start of the season, and I still agree with you now. So I'm going to now I've had a chance to think about it. He might choose to play his strongest 11 against Everton instead, the WSL game, and then the Man City game, the Conti Cup. He might have his own Conti Cup team. So when we go up on Wednesday, we might see Katie rested for that, and then Lad and Borisa start like they did against Durham. We might see the Carrie Joneses or the Fuzos. That's a big risk because we're opening up ourselves up to lose that game then because we're playing a potential weaker team. But I think it'll be very interesting to see how he goes for it. Because we don't want to go against City and lose. But on the flip side, as a fan base, we do want to see the likes of Fuso play. We want to see our midfielders play. We want to see Carrier play. We want to see Maria Edwards play. So Skinner's got a very difficult decision to make for that game, and he starts going into this Everton game.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think he has to get the balance right. We obviously discuss winning trophies and or Champions League, and you just want to get a trophy under wraps. So the Conti Cup should be very important this season.
Mm-hmm.
But we will see. But before we forget, prediction time. What are you going for?
It's not going to be easy again. I knew it wasn't going to be easy last week. In theory, this game should be easier than Tottenham because Everton haven't shown as much this season. They've had an extra week with their manager now to work on a few things. Their players, you would have thought, would have settled in a little bit more now. So I think Everton will be up for this. Everton are obviously at home. So I don't think it'll be easy. But I have to say that we're going to go for a win here. You know, I think fan base wants to see a reaction. Skinner will want to see a reaction. Players will want to kind of lay down a bit of a marker here. So I do see a United win. So this might divide us on this one. Scoreline, can I see Everton scoring against us? Possibly. So I might just go for another 2-1 here to United.
Cool. Yeah, just divide us. I'm being the negative Nancy here. I think even when we have picked up points away from home, we haven't really been that convincing, other than the Leicester game where we could have went and beat them 6-7-1 if we'd finished. I just haven't been impressed, and it's probably me just being stupid, thinking, after all that. So that's probably why I got my guard up. But I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I hope I'm right. Wrong, obviously. But we'll see. We'll see. It's lunchtime kickoff on Sunday. So if you can't get to the game, then Sky Sports is the one. We better move on as time is getting on a bit now. We've had a good chat about United. We've got another derby in the Midlands derby. It is Birmingham v Aston Villa, 2 p.m. kickoff on Sunday. Birmingham have got 4 wins to 1 draw and no Villa wins. You can have odds 3-1 at Birmingham a win, 5-2 for the draw, 37-50. So basically 4-5 for Villa to win. Obviously, it's a local derby. Birmingham are still winless. It'd be a great time for them to pick up their first win. But can you see that derby? We always discuss derby games can throw the form book at the window. I wouldn't say so much. I haven't seen so much of that this season, but in previous seasons, form does go out the window sometimes. What's your opinion?
I'm going to flip the question round a little bit and say,
okay.
Is this a game where Aston Villa can kind of get back on track again because they had a good start to the season? And
very true.
And this is kind of what I see going forward now in this game, at least. It's a tough game for me to predict because I've got loyalties to both, haven't I, where I live, and every show where I can try and get Villa points, I try and give him points. Where I try and get Birmingham points, I try and give him points. I just think that Villa will have. I think Villa will have too much for them. I think Villa have a good team. I said at the start.
Yeah, I agree.
Carla Ward. Yeah, Carla Ward.
She's doing a good job.
She is. And I said at the start of the season where people was rating Leicester, I fancied Aston Villa because I think Aston Villa was going unnoticed. And I think they've had some good matches and they've had some poorer matches. But I think that's okay. You know, at that level, you're going to get that. And I think throughout the rest of the season, if you carry on getting a few wins and a few losses, you're going to be mid-table or higher. Yeah. And I think this is one game now where I do fancy Villa to go on and get that win. And I think then that'll put them 1 point behind us. If we don't get a result, of course, that'll put us on that'll put them on 10 points. So for me, I can see Villa getting a win. I won't say how many just yet.
Yeah.
I don't think Villa. I think Villa have still got a lot to work on. By the way, defensively they seem sound. I know that they've conceded a few against the big clubs. That's fine. You know, you kind of expect that. I still think they can work on a bit more going forward. I'm not going to name names or anything. It's not my club, so I'm not going to go too harsh. But I think that there are some players there that can do a bit more when they're on the ball, and I think this is a game where they'll be up for it. As for Birmingham, I did say last week, I think, last weekend was the weekend where we saw the strong get stronger and the weak get weaker. And the results showed that, the bottom two are drifting away now and the top two were also drifting away at the other end of the table.
Yeah.
And I kind of see that in this weekend as well, when it comes to the bottom of the league. So I do fancy a Villa win, but that doesn't mean that Birmingham will be in danger for the rest of the season. I do think Birmingham will pick up a few more points here and there, but I don't think it'll be this weekend.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think I backed Birmingham to get something against Reading last time, and they failed me miserably. So I haven't got much hope for Birmingham. I'd agree with you. It's 11th v 8th, so it's not so far ahead as in position wise. But the manager at Birmingham, obviously it's a new manager. I don't know much about him, but he doesn't seem to be picking up the points. Obviously, they did get that point against West Ham, but other than them and Leicester, which we will discuss next, I always think Leicester, even though they've not won a game yet, I think Leicester actually have the better team than Birmingham. But so it does surprise me, but that's for another conversation. But no, I would agree with you on I fancy a Villa win. I just think the form doesn't go out of the window here. Villa are a much better team, personally. Like you said, they could be a bit better up front, but they're good at the back. So, whereas at Birmingham struggle to score and keep the goals out. So, unfortunate for Ramsey. It's good that she is getting experience in the WSL, which can only be a bonus for our Man United.
Yeah.
Scoreline prediction. What do you reckon?
Just the part that I'm having trouble with is, will Birmingham get on the score sheet? And I don't think that they will. I just think that Aston Villa might dominate the ball a little bit. Not necessarily dominate the game and say like 6 or 7-0. I'm not going to say that at all. But I just can't see Birmingham getting a goal here. I think Villa will set up very strong. Birmingham haven't shown much signs this season of getting on the score sheet anyway. I'm going to go for. I think Villa might get a few goals, plus I'm going to say 3-0 Villa.
Cool. Now, I've gone the opposite way with, do you think Birmingham will score?
Okay.
I just have a sneaky suspicion they're going to sneak one. But I have gone for Villa to score 3, so I've gone for 3. I've gone for 3-1. I just feel like it's gonna be I think it'll be a good game. Obviously, Midlands derby. Villa will be confident. Yes, Birmingham will be low in confidence, but I feel that Birmingham will get some chances. They even got chances against Man United, so I feel like Birmingham will get a couple of chances, and I reckon they'll put one away this week. So 3-1 for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we will now move on to Brighton v Leicester, both having different seasons, 4th v 12th. This will be the first time they have played each other, and the experts have Brighton at 1-5. You can get a draw at 5-1, or Leicester City at 8-1. Now, John, how do you see this going with form? Or we keep saying it, Do Leicester find anything? Even a point? Do they find a first win? I'm an RFB side, but against Leicester and at home, for me personally, I can only see one winner.
I'm trying to find something. I'm trying, a draw. I think you said it was 5-1. Is that correct? A draw 5-1.
It is 5-1. Yeah,
that's I still can't see it. I think that was a good odds, but I just don't see it. I think the odds are correct. Don't get me wrong. It could happen if Brighton have an off day and Leicester perform at the best of their ability. Then it could definitely happen. And I've been saying throughout the season that Brighton, I don't think that they'll stay up there. I do think they'll start dropping down. But it's not down to these games. I can't see Brighton slipping up. They've done so well so far. They'll be kicking themselves if they don't get maximum points, let alone a draw. I'm guessing Brighton are at home as well. Is that correct?
They are. Yeah, they're at home. So
yeah,
I believe it's at the People's Pension Stadium because don't think it's a game at the Amex, but they have had a couple of games at the Amex.
I agree with you, Anthony. I think Leicester have got a good team and they don't deserve to be where they are, but something's gone wrong at the moment. And I can't see it changing anytime soon. And I know that they've got a tough run going into Christmas as well. But now I can't. Obviously, crazy to sit here and try and justify how Leicester are going to at least get a draw out of this. Definitely won't get a win. You wouldn't have thought. And we have sat on this show where Tottenham won City, I think it was, where we said, City will definitely win. But as a prediction show, if you had to put your house on something, you'd go for a Brighton win here because Brighton have done so well and Leicester haven't. So I think I would love to see Leicester get some points here. I really would, because I think it would make them perform at the best of their ability, because at the moment I don't think that they are. But I can't see it here. So I'll give my score prediction. I'm going to say Brighton 2-0.
So I've gone for the same score gap, but I've gone for 3-1 Brighton again.
Yeah.
Gone for another 3-1. So you reckon 2-0 Brighton. And before I do, I don't want to say I'm wrong. I say it could be at Crawley, but with it being an international break this week, it could potentially be at the Amex. I'm just not so sure. So it's even at the Amex or the Crawley Stadium, regardless. But no, I agree with you, John. I just think Brighton, even if they don't play to their best of their abilities, I still think they'll have too much for Leicester. It just doesn't seem to be clicking results-wise for Leicester. I know I've mentioned time and time again that they've got some good players, Leicester. Like, you don't go to Man United if you're not a good player. I know there's certain stages to the Man United build with the likes of Sigsworth, and it didn't work out for Abby McManus, but they're players with WSL experience. So I did feel that Leicester would be all right this season, but for whatever reason, it's just not clicked. And I can only see one winner this weekend in that game. So 3-1 Brighton for me. So that leads us now to Man City v Chelsea. Another big game, which is on Sky. They've played each other plenty of times, but surprisingly, Man City have only won twice in the last 4 years. There's been 6 draws and 5 Chelsea wins. The experts have odds of Man City at 13-5, the draw at 5-2, and Chelsea at 4-5. Now, they played each other recently in the FA Cup, which Chelsea won 2-0. They were the better team on the day, and we did discuss, or have discussed it. It was 2 goals that I feel, with Ellie Roebuck in goal, wouldn't have gone in. But this is a league game now, and Man City will be confident after getting a few against Leicester. But like I said, they always seem to pick up a few against the likes of Leicester and Everton. It's the challengers like Chelsea this week. They haven't played too well at home, City. What are your thoughts on the game? Because they've had a few dodgy results at the home.
Mm-hmm. This is a game where City is kind of creeping up there again. They're doing well. I said them doing well after a rocky start. But is this a game where they're going to suddenly turn it around and turn it on and go from a run from here on in? I don't know. I can't.
They did it last season.
I know. They've still got the potential there with all the injuries that they've had, with all the players that are potentially out of form. Their first 11, no matter who they put out, are still capable of putting on a show. I just don't want it to. I think Chelsea are really on it at the moment. So I think it would be a massive upset in my eyes if City got the winner. Could they potentially get a draw? I think, we'll find out in about 3 or 4 minutes' time when we both kind of give our predictions. But I definitely see Chelsea as favourites. It's just whether or not City can maybe sneak a couple of goals and get maybe a 2-2. That's what I'm thinking. If I see any points for City, I'm seeing goals. I'm seeing them concede goals, but also score goals as well.
With their keeper, they let goals in. Unfortunately, City.
Yeah. I haven't got the updated injury list at hand regarding City, but like I said, I don't think it matters too much because I think the team that City put out will still be capable of getting something. But I just don't know. I still fancy Chelsea. Did you say what the experts have got them down as?
Yeah, 4-5. So they got Chelsea as favourites.
Yeah, but on this side though, it's basically evens, which is still not massive.
No,
so I think that's about right. I think they're kind of covering themselves there. What's your kind of summary on this one before I give my actual score prediction?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think I'm backing Chelsea. I'm like you. I don't want City picking up any points because if United are going to make a challenge for top 3, then even though we haven't been great, I still see, and City haven't been great, I still see City as our main threat at the moment to top 3. Now, on the other hand, if Chelsea did drop a couple of points, it would be good. But what I'm wanting to happen is we play Chelsea at Kings Meadow at the end of the season. So I still want Chelsea to be in with a shot of winning the title.
Yeah.
Just so that Arsenal can win it and then we can banter them, which you know what it would be like, wouldn't it? It'd be like,
yeah.
So that would be a good thing. And then United clinch 3rd, but we've still got a long way to go before we get anywhere near that. But going back to this game, I just think Chelsea, they just got a full squad, haven't they? They're a bit like Arsenal where they can leave the likes of Pernilla Harder out and they've still got Sam Kerr, Fran Kirby, and Beth England. Now, I like a player like Beth England at United, but she's obviously quite happy knowing that she's going to be a bit part player, but she'll get plenty of opportunity because of the amount of games they have. But I am going with form on this one. I'll give my prediction first this time round, shall I?
Yeah.
So I'm going to go for another 2-0 win for Chelsea.
Okay. So that's good because I had 2 predictions in mind. I either thought City will turn up and it'll be like a 2-2, a real entertaining game.
I've been like that for Man United men all season. It doesn't work.
So it could either be a 2-2 with City being happy with that, or Chelsea or carry on. And I do favour that latter one. I do think that Chelsea will just have a bit too much for them again this weekend. So I'm going to go for a different scoreline. I'm going to say a 3-1.
I'm glad our predictions are a bit mixed up
Yeah,
more this week, because
yeah,
it could mean it could come down to a correct scoreline prediction, because other than you being positive for Man United, we've all gone for the same team to win,
okay.
and I reckon we're going to have the same team to win on the next game as well, which leads us to West Ham v Reading. Now it's 6th v 9th. They've played each other 6 times. West Ham winning 3, Reading winning 3. They have West Ham at slight favourites at 5-4, the draw at 23-10, and Reading at 7-4. Now, Reading have picked some form up in the last couple of games, a couple of wins, so it might be clicking for them now. They'll feel confident going into the game, but West Ham have had some good results as well, other than the Arsenal game, who it's no shock. Arsenal are doing it to a lot of teams, and I just hope they don't do it to us next week, which we will discuss in next week's show. But how do you see this one playing out? Can you see West Ham doing well, or can you see Reading with the confidence they've got now? Can you see them building on that even more and climbing up the table?
Yeah, well, this is the thing. You started this little segment about West Ham and Reading saying we both might go for the same winner, and I don't think it's that easy. For me, it's either a West Ham win or a draw, because I do think that Reading are, they're getting to where they deserve to be, regarding club status at least. Based on this season, yeah, they've definitely not been at the races, and we know the reason why over the summer, and we spoke about this on other shows, so don't need to go into that too much, but I do see Reading starting to pick up more points throughout the season now, especially now that they've got maybe 2 wins under the belt, so they are doing well, and this could be one of those games where they do get another point and start to break away from that bottom 2. I kind of said last week that I do see this kind of thing happening, and come Christmas, I do think it'll be the bottom 2 that'll be fighting it out with nobody else even close, and for that to happen, Reading need to pick up points, and this is the kind of game where they could pick up points. West Ham, on the other hand, yeah, they've done well. I think they're on somewhere like very similar to like 8 points, 8 goals, 8 against. I think it's very, very even. Which doesn't mean that they've done great, but it does mean that they've done better than Reading. West Ham fans seem fairly okay with where they are. I'm still making my mind up on this one. I'm either going to say like a West Ham close win or a potential draw, but I think I am leaning more one way than the other. But Anthony, do you want to kind of give your thoughts on this one first?
Yeah, no, I think obviously Reading are going to be confident that they can pick something up. Obviously, we've talked on them losing all that experience in the summer, but it's starting to click now, which Reading will be happy about. You talk about the bottom 2 being the 2 that are going to be left behind. Fully agree with you. I think Leicester and Birmingham will both be counting their lucky stars that they are a team as bad as each other at the moment, performance and result-wise, because last year Bristol City didn't have anyone. They were gone by Christmas time, and they had a miracle which they couldn't stay up, which they nearly did stay up, but because of what had happened before Christmas, it was a bit too much for them. So in respective of the bottom 2, they'll be thinking, thank God there is someone who's just as bad as us at the moment. But West Ham, I think, yeah, I agree with you. I think the fans will be content mid-table. So I think they would have taken that at the beginning of the season. As you said, it's balanced head-to-head wise. Obviously, teams do change a lot. Reading have had a good time, a good spell with like the likes of Farrell Williams and that, so they've always been a bit harder to beat. But I don't normally change my prediction, but I have, because I thought when I was discussing Reading having 2 wins and picking up confidence, I did actually originally go for a 3-0 West Ham win. But thinking about what I've just said and that, I still think West Ham are going to win. But I think it's going to be a close one up. But I'm going to go for a 2-1 West Ham. Yeah. Now, I will ask you your prediction before we wrap up the show.
Yeah. I think Reading will get very unlucky. I'm going to say it's going to be a 1-0 win West Ham. I think Reading will be unlucky. I think they'll probably deserve to get something out of the game, but just probably not get there. 1-0, 2-1. I agree with that kind of thing. But it wouldn't surprise me if this is a game where we're both wrong and Reading do get something out of it. That wouldn't bother me at all. Yeah. So 1-0 for me.
Cool. We will find out this weekend. Before we wrap up, John, what's on this weekend? Is it the usual Friday Fans Forum?
Yeah, it is. Yep. So I could tune in later today, 7 o'clock. We've got a good panel, as always. We're going to be talking a bit about Skinner and his time at Birmingham, how that may have affected his time at United in a positive way. So we're going to be discussing that one. There's going to be 5 or 6 of us on that show, and it's going to be a good one. So tune in definitely. Saturday is the usual Saturday Night Live with Ben and Matt, and then this is the first game that I'm not actually going to be able to attend because I'll be at work. So
you're not going to be there as well?
No. So basically, I could either choose to go to the Conti Cup game or to go to the Everton away game. So I've chosen to go to the home game against City. So unfortunately, I'm missing the Everton game because I'm due to work. So I'm not even going to be able to watch it on my phone or watch it at home. So unfortunately, I'm going to miss this one. But I will be back in the stadium on Wednesday.
Cool. And that's everything, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like and put your comments in. Have your predictions. Have your say on what we discussed about Mark Skinner and that, and the team performance and how you would do it. But thanks for watching this afternoon, and we'll see you soon, guys. Thank you.